capacity to love. Your strength carried us through challenges that could have broken us, but we always found our way back because we chose each other over and over again. This is the truest proof of our love. This year, on my birthday, you wrote, "Happy birthday, my love. You are not only my wife, but also my best friend, the greatest blessing in my life. I thank God every day for you, and I look forward to creating more beautiful memories together. Enjoy your day. I love you deeply." I was holding on those words with so much joy, eagerly counting down the days until I would see you again in Atlanta, Georgia on the 18th. I was waiting to be in your arms, to laugh with you, to celebrate my birthday by your side like we had planned. Why then? Why am I in Ghana mourning you instead? On that final morning, just hours before your crash, your last words to me were, "Take care, babe. I love you." Those words will forever echo in my heart, not just as your goodbye, but as your eternal vow to me. I will cherish every moment we shared, your laughter, your embrace, the way you called my name. This world may have lost you, but I'll carry your love with me always. You were my partner, my safe place, my joy, and my best friend. Rest peacefully, Eniola Abuaje, as I affectionately call you. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for making me a wife. Thank you for our daughters. Thank you for showing me through partnership looks like. I pray your soul finds eternal peace, surrounded by the grace and light of God. May your rest be as beautiful and powerful as the life you lived. May heaven welcome you with open arms. Until we meet again, I hold on to our love, unbroken by time, untouched by death. You will always be my forever. Samuel Abuaje, my dear husband, rest well, rest peacefully in the bosom of the Lord. Dem refedue me don fopa.
I should let her do that. Okay. She said she can't. Tribute from Samuel Abuaje's daughters. You held a way of making us feel like the most special girls in the world. Every year, you made sure our birthday are moments to remember, especially when you came to our school to celebrate with us. Those small, beautiful gestures meant everything. You shone your love through presence, laughter, and the joy you brought into our lives. Our birthday always close. Mine on the 5th of August. My little sister coming on 22nd September this year. Sometimes, what never could have imagined, because on the 6th of August, just a day after my birthday, we lost you. It hurt in a way that we can explain. We are all supposed to meet together soon. My little sister was getting ready to come and spend a week with you before going to meet mom in the US. You joked that worry you so much, but you still want her to come. That was the father we had. Lovely, prayerful.
For me.
You're 62 and saved up $750,000. You're tired of working and you want to know, should I retire? Can I retire? Do I have enough? How long will my money last? These are the questions that may be keeping you up at night and stopping you from living your best life in retirement. I've sat with hundreds of people over the years that come into the office, they sit down, they say, Troy, I'm done working. 62 is right around the corner. I'm going to retire. I'm going to turn on my Social Security benefits. And they make that income decision before we make the allocation decision. So with the Retirement Success Plan, there's a reason why the allocation comes before income planning, then tax planning. So what I'm going to do in this video is actually go through different scenarios and show you some of the things that you should be considering before you actually make that decision, pull the ripcord, go off into retirement, and turn your Social Security on at 62. Okay, we have to cover some of the basics first to provide context for the entire plan. So we have both husband and wife, 62 years old, and they want to spend $60,000 per year. Retiring at 62, taking Social Security early, there is a permanent reduction in both the personal Social Security benefits and also the spousal benefits. In this example, the husband is the only one who qualifies for his own personal Social Security check. That's going to be $25,000 a year at age 62. So that takes into account the reduction from full retirement age. And his wife, even though she worked and busted her butt for many, many years, unfortunately, the government doesn't count that work as qualifying for a Social Security check. So she is going to have to take spousal benefits. That's $11,000 a year in this example. We're going to look at what happens if they defer it till 67, 70, how that impacts the overall plan. But they're both 62, wanting to retire now. His Social Security is $25,000, hers is $11,000, $750,000 saved, as I said. $650,000 of that is inside the IRA, $100,000 of that is in savings. Now, we're not going to get into the potential of tapping equity inside the home, but for this example, the home is worth $500,000. So that is something that could be tapped either through a reverse mortgage later in life or a home equity loan, possibly selling the home, buying something smaller, renting, a lot of options there. But we're just going to focus on the asset saved, the amount of income that they want to spend with respect to inflation over time, and look at how that Social Security decision impacts their security. So we're going to jump right to the magic button now and see what the probability of success is for everything that we've talked about so far. The investment portfolio is allocated pretty traditionally, 60% stock and 40% bonds. The life expectancy for the wife is 94. The life expectancy for the husband is 92. One thing to note here, I was doing some research, and I think it was the Stanford Center for Longevity. I did a research study. I didn't check into the details. You can look some of this stuff up. I do encourage you to look into longevity studies and what's happening with medical science and technology when it comes to extending our lives. But the study said about 40% of people, men and women, underestimate their life expectancy. Males more so than females, so I think it averages out to about 40% there. But we see this very, very often when we have conversations with people. For some reason, we just have this tendency to underestimate our life expectancy. But when we're planning for retirement, of course, we'd rather plan for a bit above the averages as opposed to a bit below the averages. So one thing to take note here is once you hit the age of 65, your life expectancy numbers are different than when you look at life expectancy as a whole of the population. So a 65-year-old female, the average is about 87, give or take a year or so there. And a 65-year-old male, I believe those averages right now are around 84. So those are the averages. Take into consideration your own health, family longevity, etc. For planning purposes, we're going to assume 94 for the wife and 92 for the husband. Okay, we have 79% probability of success. For some of you, you may say, hey, that's great, I'm comfortable, let's do this, let's go ahead and retire. Others are, well, you know what, if I hopped into a plane and it only had a 79% chance of landing on my destination, I'm probably not getting into that plane. So how can we look at improving the 79% probability of success? Okay, the first thing I want to point out here is inflation. So we're just running this at a long-term 2.5% projected inflation rate. So we see starting out at $60,000, it gets all the way up just because of inflation to $122,000 a year. So when we look at these out years, we're having to withdraw from our assets in conjunction with Social Security enough to meet our spending goal in today's dollars. We're going to have to withdraw around $100,000 in 2044. We see 108, 116, 125,000. That's 30 years from now. When the first spouse passes away, typically there's a reduction in spending, so that's what this drop-off is reflecting. But it's very important to understand the erosion of your purchasing power over time because of inflation. Now, we've just all been through a period of high inflation, so it's fresh on our minds and we understand how that can erode our purchasing power. But when we're projecting into the future, we have to take into consideration how our future dollars, our future streams of income need to account for higher and higher withdrawals. This is why we need to strategically invest the money, and the allocation, step one of the retirement success plan, is so important, because to maintain the same level of purchasing power, we have to see those assets grow. We have to have either increasing income. We have to make sure that this gap is taken care of, because this right here, 116,000, is the exact same as this 60,000 when we look at a 2.5% projected inflation. The very first thing I want